Hello, Al Pals. This is Big Al. Welcome to Big Al Presents. My thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi. You knew it was coming. The show's finished its run on Disney Plus. I've seen all the episodes and wanted to share my thoughts on it. But of course, before I do so, spoiler warning, there may be, well, not even may, there will be some spoilers ahead. So if you haven't finished watching the show, or if you haven't watched it at all, or planning to, and you didn't want to know anything, you might want to stop here and come back later. That being said, my thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes, I know the fandom has been split ever since Last Jedi came out. And it's basically saying that is just an excuse to show this screenshot from Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi was brilliant. I enjoyed every moment of it. I thought it was a fantastic series, beginning to end. The story, the characterizations, the pacing, the music, the cinematography, the special effects. I loved it all. And I know there are a lot of people out there trying to convince everyone else in the world that this show is terrible. I am the voice of reason because this show rocked. It was awesome, top to bottom, and you're not going to convince me otherwise. Ewan McGregor, once again, perfect as Obi-Wan Kenobi. The man was born to play this role, to be the successor to Alec Guinness, and he has brought honor once again to the character of Obi-Wan slash Ben Kenobi. And I am so happy that he came back to this role. He was great. He understands the character. And I know a lot of people are going to be upset that Obi-Wan starts off the series kind of down and depressed and has lost some of his faith because of what had happened in Revenge of the Sith. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And his redemption arc, and I say redemption because it's a self redemption. It's within himself that he needs to deal with the issues. It's finding the forgiveness within and being able to let the past go so that he can actually find himself at peace again and be able to commune with the Force like he should be able to. And it makes perfect sense why he hasn't been able to commune with Qui-Gon Jinn, because he hasn't felt that sense of peace within the Force. And which is why when Qui-Gon's Force Ghost shows up at the end, yes, I did say there were spoilers, and it is Liam Neeson reprising that role. It made perfect sense that he would get to this point. I would finally be able to commune with Qui-Gon again. I'm just so glad he returned to this role and brought this story to life. We get to see Darth Vader rise even higher in the pantheon of terrifying villains. He commits acts of atrocity in this series that once again prove why Darth Vader is such an effective villain. Evil through and through, bent on revenge, filled with hate. and it was glorious to see it portrayed this effectively. And with it, we get to see the return of Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. And in a great little twist, which I actually wasn't expecting, they de-aged him and Ewan McGregor and brought us a scene of Anakin and Obi-Wan sparring uh, pre-Attack of the Clones era. And so that was a wonderful thing to see. And you get to see Hayden behind the mask, especially in the finale. There's a great moment of that reveal of seeing his image in the broken helmet of Vader during that final fight. And speaking of that fight, oh my God, what a fight! This is the lightsaber battle that people have been wanting. Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader. Not Anakin, but Darth Vader. And it was worth the wait and more. We get some really good new characters. I know a lot of people don't like Reva. I kind of like this character, and I thought her character arc was quite effective and made sense. Moses Ingram, the actress, I thought did a wonderful job in the role, and I have absolutely nothing negative to say about this character and the portrayal of the actress. I thought it was great. It was a nice little character arc on her own, going from a youngling who witnessed the atrocities of Order 66 and finding her own self filled with hatred, with her own private agenda, and then to see how she ends up, I think was a nice aspect of the story. We get a couple more great characters in Tala and Haja. Tala played by Indira Varma, who is an actress that I've liked for a long time. Kumail Nanjiani playing Haja, kind of a con man with a heart of gold kind of a character. Both of them, I think, very nice additions to the Star Wars universe. Sadly, one of them didn't quite make it out of the series, but they made quite an impression while they were there. You get to see the Inquisitors in live action. Rupert Friend as the Grand Inquisitor, Sung Kang as the fifth brother, of course joining with Reva, hunting the Jedi and hunting anyone who might be force sensitive and rounding them up, but so that they can't challenge the Emperor, of course. But nice to see them, and I'm sure we're going to see them again in future projects. Not quite sure in what or in what manner, but I think they'll be interesting to see again. And of course, you get to the classic characters returning: Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru, Joel Edgerton, and Bonnie Placey back. And you can't have Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru at this time period without having little Luke, who we don't really get to see too much of or interact with him in any great way. But they got this little kid, Grant Feely, who I think they're pretty happy with, and I would not be surprised if we see this character again at this age, possibly in another Obi-Wan Kenobi season. It wouldn't surprise me. We also get the return of Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa and all his honorable and regal being. Always liked his character and Smits's portrayal, and we get to see him joined by his wife, played by Simone Kessel, Breha Organa. So you have the Organas on Alderaan, and who else do we get? Of course, Princess Leia, who figures very majorly in this series and is perfect. I think somewhere in heaven, Carrie Fisher is looking down and smiling at little Vivian Lyra Blair at playing a young Princess Leia. And she has her own little droid, Lola, who, if I heard right, was called Lola because Carrie Fisher, when she was young, had a little bird named Lola. So they gave Princess Leia a little droid named Lola. But this little actress is a force. She was absolutely brilliant in the role. She embodied the strong young girl who is going to grow up to be quite the rebel leader, and a lot of emotional moments with her character as well. With her father, Bail Organa, some very sweet moments. You can tell in very quickly in a very short scene just how much he loves his daughter. And I thought it was portrayed brilliantly. And her scenes with Ewan McGregor, Leia running around with Obi-Wan, I just think was the adventure we didn't know we wanted, and we got it. And I know a lot of people are going to say, but didn't Princess Leia not know Obi-Wan Kenobi? Well, it can be seen at the very end that he does warn her that if they ever have to contact him again, they need to be careful. So it is definitely within reason that the way she did the message in A New Hope was perfectly understandable. So that's all I've got to say about that. But yes, perfect actress. I hope we see her again. I don't know, and I don't know how they could bring her back in, but I really hope they do so. And you can't have Star Wars without a couple of cool droids. I talked about Lola, but they also had this one guy, Ned B, who didn't really talk. He was kind of a helping the resistance kind of guy, and kind of strong, silent type, and gets a wonderful moment with Tala. I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to tell you exactly what transpires, but it's a very noble moment for a droid. I will say that. But the series, I loved it. I cannot express just how much I appreciated this show. I thought the action was fantastic. The lightsaber battles were excellently choreographed, beautifully lit, wonderfully filmed. The continuing world building that they're doing, I think, is fantastic. And the imagery is as iconic as ever. And beyond the character moments in this film, the final episode gives us everything we want. Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan Kenobi in the fight of all fights. We get the return of classical musical themes, and I think they held them back. And a lot of people criticized the music for holding back some of the classic themes. I believe they did it because they wanted to use those themes to kind of transition to the next phase. You hear the Imperial March when Vader finally seems to give up on his obsession of getting Kenobi back. You hear the Princess Leia theme come in as Obi-Wan is telling her the characteristics that he sees in her that reminds him of her mother and her father. And the Force theme, we get the return of that once Obi-Wan has fully embraced himself again, that he has finally let go of the past and he's ready to move on. And I think that's why they might have done it. And I'm sure others will argue that it was because of financial reasons and that Disney just doesn't want to pay John Williams and whatever. But I think it makes sense. I really do. So overall, I loved Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't really have a negative thing to say. Is it perfect? No. But the flaws are so minute, they're not even worth mentioning, if at all. I just found myself like the continuing Disney Plus shows that they have given us. I, with a lot of people out there, did not like what they did in the sequel trilogies. But what they're doing on these live action shows, The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and now Obi-Wan Kenobi, they've been brilliant. They've been fantastic. I know a lot of people have issues with The Book of Boba Fett. I get that. I don't get the hate for this one. I can at least understand the one for Book of Boba Fett. But Mandalorian and Obi-Wan Kenobi is Star Wars at its best. And that is my humble opinion, and that is why I give this show 4.5 stars. I rarely give out 5 stars. I'm just saying that. There's about 10 5-star things in the history of cinema and television. I may have to do a video about that one day, but that's something else. Obi-Wan Kenobi is just about as good as you can get. It is a wonderful addition to the Star Wars stories, legends, and lore. And I simply wish for all those out there who just will not let themselves enjoy this show, one day wake up and go, you know what? I was wrong. I should be like Al. And find the goodness in these shows that is there, and I just wasn't seeing it. I know that's kind of silly for me to say. People are going to think what they're going to think. That is fine. Let them think that way. But don't expect me to agree with you when I think this was fantastic. So that's all I got to say about that. Obi-Wan Kenobi, 4.5 stars. What else can I say? Star Wars is alive, and it seems to be doing quite well at the moment. That's all I got to say. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, Big Al Presents, I hope you do so. More reviews, rewatches, and rambles in the weeks and months to come. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it. Spread the word at how good Obi-Wan Kenobi is to counteract a lot of the negativity that is out there on in the YouTube world. But hey, this is just my humble opinion. Everyone's gonna have their own, and that is fine. I had to give mine. I had to speak my piece. But that being said, whatever you are watching, decide to watch, or plan to watch in the future, I hope you enjoy it, because that's what entertainment's all about, is to be entertained. Hope everyone has a wonderful time, and until I see you again, take care and goodbye.